Hello everybody, this is Dawn, aka India Lavoyce, representing for Free Gospel Deliverance Center, and I'm at home in my library, relaxing, taking it easy, just coming to you earlier because of the tent revival season we're still in, and it just continues to grow and grow, and I thank God for it. Hope this video or this live finds you well. So what I usually do is on Wednesdays, I do spiritual warfare prayer, and then I'll get into the Bible study. But last week I wasn't able to meet with you guys, so I'm going to just do double portion of the Bible studies and just read more chapters to you. And if you haven't been here before, welcome. What I do is I read word for word from the Bible, and the King James Version was the requested version from my pastor. So I read from the King James, and I just expound on it and try to break it down, because a lot of my peers and a lot of people have told me they don't understand the King James English because it's archaic to them. So I try to break it down in modern English. Since I'm kind of on a time crunch, and since a lot of the chapters today would be kind of repetitive, there's literally one of the chapters that I'm going to try to get to that literally just recaps what happened to the children of Israel in the wilderness. So in those kind of cases, I'm going to read through quickly because it's not new information. But things that are new, I'm going to try to, break it down. So I always begin with recap too. After I do the spiritual warfare portion, which I'm not going to do today, I recap and let you know, if you haven't seen last week, or in this case week before last, we were in Numbers 26, 27. And what happened in those chapters is there was a census done, and they talked about one family only had female descendants, and those daughters met up with Moses and says, hey, we don't have any brothers. Our father had no sons. Should we be left out of our inheritance? And Moses talked to God about that, and God told him, no, those girls should definitely inherit. And also said, and let it be known in the future, if a man only has daughters, those daughters have every right to inherit the estate and things left. And if there's no children at all, then the estate will be left to the man's brother. So and then it talked about God telling Moses that his time is almost up, and it's time for him to pass the baton, if you will. But before God takes him, he said, I want you to climb up this mountain and look at the promised land first. And Moses literally gets concerned about the children of Israel because he knows them. He knows they need a shepherd. He knows they need a guide. So he actually says that to God, who will lead your people? And God told him that Joshua will lead the people to the promised land, and to give charge to Joshua in front of all of Israel, so they'll know for a fact this is the man who is to take over for me. Because as we know, in modern times, a lot of ministers have huge organizations that are successful. If they don't leave the ministry in written form or verbally, if they don't leave that to the next person, a lot of times the ministry can split up. And I've seen that a lot of times, where there are several organizations that come out of a ministry because of that fact, which sometimes I think is of God, because it's not about us and our ministries here. And a lot of times if you split up, that means you're spreading the word to a new location. But anyway, that's a recap. And we'll actually go ahead and get started. I'm going to put on my granny glasses. And I did not bring my ring light for that reason. I have the windows open though, so you'll see some reflection in my glasses. So we're up to Numbers chapter 28, excuse me, right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading that. And it says, verse 1, And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel, and say unto them, My offering and my bread for my sacrifices made by fire, for a sweet savor unto me, shall ye observe to offer unto me in their due season. So this is what I was saying earlier. The chapter 28 and 29 for sure go over God's appointed times, his sacrifices and offerings he wants during those times. So it feels like kind of a repeat of Leviticus. So I put that up for those reference chapters there for chapter 28 and 29. So I'm going to go through them kind of quickly. I do like to say when it comes to animal sacrifice, because I'm going to read it, that we are not expected to do that today because of Jesus, Yeshua's blood covering. We do not have to kill animals and sacrifice them unto God anymore. His sacrifice, Jesus sacrifices once and for all. So this is going to seem sort of like a history to us today when God is talking about the animal sacrifices. But it says, verse 3, And thou shalt say unto them, This is the offering made by fire, which ye shall offer unto the Lord, 2 lambs of the first year without spot day by day, for a continual burnt offering. The one lamb shalt thou offer in the morning, and the other lamb shalt thou offer at even. And a 10th part of an ephah of flour for a meat offering, mingled with the 4th part of an hin of beaten oil. So the ephah, EPHAH, and the hin, HIN, are measurements that we don't use anymore. But they do give kind of estimates if you look them up as to how much that'll be a hin or an ephah. And I've done that before in the past, so I'm not going to do it again. Verse 6 says, It is a continual burnt offering which was ordained at Mount Sinai for a sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord. And the drink offering thereof shall be the 4th part of an hin for the one lamb. In the holy place shalt thou cause the strong wine to be poured unto the Lord for a drink offering. So they're saying in the Holy of Holies, because at this time they had the tabernacle set up in the desert. And the tabernacle is for sacrifices to be brought up before the Lord. It wasn't a place where a group of people met for church service. It was strictly for sacrifice, and it had the Ark of the Covenant housed in the Holy of Holies, where God would appear before the high priest. And the high priest would only be allowed to go in the Holy of Holies once a year. And that's the Day of Atonement, called Yom Kippur in Hebrew. And I will mention Yom Kippur a little later in detail, because it comes up again in discussion. Verse 8 says, And the other lamb shalt thou offer at even, as the meat offering of the morning, and as the drink offering thereof thou shalt offer it a sacrifice made by fire, of a sweet savor, a sweet aroma unto the Lord. And on the Sabbath day 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2/10 deals of flour for a meat offering mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof. So God says repeatedly to keep the Sabbath day, and these are the animals he wants sacrificed for that day. Verse 10 says, This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering. And in the beginnings of your months, the beginning of the month is called Rosh Chodesh. And we actually just had a beginning of a new month on the Hebrew calendar. And forgive me because I forgot the name of that new month. But once a month, every Rosh Chodesh, he wants them to do this. You shall offer a burnt offering unto the Lord, 2 young bullocks and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot. So 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 lambs. So thank God we don't have to kill all those animals anymore. Verse 12, and 3/10 deals of flour for a meat offering mingled with oil for 1 bullock, and 2/10 deals of flour for a meat offering mingled with oil for 1 ram, and a several 10th deal of flour mingled with oil for a meat offering unto 1 lamb, for a burnt offering of a sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord. And their drink offering shall be half an hin of wine unto a bullock, and the 3rd part of an hin unto a ram, and a 4th part of an hin unto a lamb. This is the burnt offering of every month throughout the months of the year. And they were dealing with a lunar calendar, a calendar based off the phases of the moon, instead of what we do today with our solar system and our solar calendar based off of the sun. So let's see, verse 15 says, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering unto the Lord shall be offered, besides the continual burnt offering and his drink offering. And in the 14th day of the 1st month is the Passover of the Lord. So he's going through all of these holy days again and telling them point blank what to do. And I'm thinking it's because he knows that Moses is going to be is going to die. It's going to cross over. And so it's like reminding them again, do this, So about the Passover, in verse 17 it says, and in the 15th day of this month is the feast. 7 days shall unleavened bread be eaten, and in the 1st day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no manner of servile work therein. So he's repeating, okay, for the Passover, it's a week-long celebration. The first night, you have a holy convocation. And people in modern times know what that is, because we have holy convocations today. But today is not in relation to a holy day. I really, to be honest, and I'm not trying to put anybody down, because I know, I think it's still a PAW convocation going on right now, or either they just ended. So I don't know what the holy convocations are for in modern times that are not in relation to the holy days. But I know you probably at least heard of a holy convocation because of that. But on the first day, it's a holy convocation. Then the other 6 days, you would continue like this. It says, but ye shall offer, in verse 19, but ye shall offer a sacrifice made by fire for a burnt offering unto the Lord, 2 young bullocks and 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the first year. They shall be unto you without blemish, and their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil. 3/10 deals shall ye offer for a bullock, and 2/10 deals for a ram. A several 10th deal shalt thou offer for every lamb throughout the 7 lambs, and 1 goat for a sin offering to make an atonement for you. Ye shall offer these beside the burnt offering in the morning, which is for a continual burnt offering. After this manner ye shall offer daily, every day, for the 7 days of Passover. Throughout the 7 days, the meat of the sacrifice made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord, it shall be offered beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering. And on the 7th day, the last day, ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. So on the last day, you will have another holy convocation for Passover. And Passover from the Exodus story, where the children of Israel left Exodus, but before they did, God warned the Egyptians that if Pharaoh doesn't let the Israelites go, it will be at the cost of their firstborn children. But he told them, if you would take the lamb, sacrifice it, and put that blood on the doorpost, the death angel will pass over you and your household. So that's where Passover, that term, comes from. And so every year that's still celebrated. To this day, I celebrate it. It's usually, all of the holy days happen to be seasonal. And so I did not write when the next Passover is, but it's usually in the spring. Sometime it falls on my birthday. My birthday is April the 11th. So yeah, I actually have a video of Passover. Like, I think it's the first Passover of the pandemic, because usually I'll go to a community Seder where I would gather with a community of people and worship God and observe Passover over dinner with them. But the first year of the pandemic, I celebrated Passover at home with my parents, and we have a video of that on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, Free Gospel Deliverance Center, look at our playlists for Holy Day teachings. I think it's under that one, or Holy Days. Look at Passover, and you'll see how we celebrated it. We ate, we worshiped God together, sang songs, but it's usually in the spring. Most of the holy days fall in the fall or autumn. So it'll be a lot like back-to-back holy days in the fall. But every Sabbath, every Saturday, so every week is a holy day that we observe. And we usually rest and study God's word and stuff for Sabbath. But anyway, it says, let's see, verse 26. Also, in the day of the first fruits, when ye bring a new meat offering unto the Lord, after your weeks be out, ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. So, when you have first fruits offering, the same should happen. Verse 27, but ye shall offer the burnt offering for a sweet savor unto the Lord, 2 young bulls, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year, and their meat offering of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deals unto 1 bullock, 2/10 deals unto 1 ram, a several tenth deal unto 1 lamb throughout the 7 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats, to make an atonement for you. Ye shall offer them beside the continual burnt offering and his meat offering. They shall be unto you without blemish. Nothing wrong with them, no spots, wrinkles, or blemishes. And their drink offerings. So now that brings us to the next chapter, chapter 29. I'm also kind of going to go through 29 quickly. I didn't go through 28 as quick as I thought, because they end up explaining more than I thought. But 29 says, and in the 7th month, on the first day of the month, and we're not talking about our calendar, just a reminder, they're talking about the Hebrew calendar. It says, ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. And by no servile work, it means really no work like regular work around the house or your jobs. Like if you work in a hospital, I believe that excuse you, because the hospital, that's life or death, and that's a 24-hour like job. But it also says, it is a day of blowing the trumpets unto you. So this verse here talks about the Feast of Trumpets, or Yom Teruah. that happens every year. Verse 2 says, "And ye shall offer a burnt offering for a sweet savor unto the Lord, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the first year without blemish." Now, I know there's some people watching this that are saying, wait a minute, I hadn't heard of these. You talking about Feast of the Trumpets? What is that? Yom Teruah? What is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement? What is Passover? Well, you got to get into your word. You got to. It's in Leviticus. All of the holy days are in Leviticus, and they're without expiration date. I don't know where we have gotten separated, because even in the New Testament, I love the New Testament. I love Jesus. He doesn't say that there's an end to these things. He celebrated them. So you'll find them in the Bible. You won't find a lot of holidays that we celebrate, which is unfortunate, like Valentine's Day, Easter and Christmas. And I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying. Easter is mentioned, but it's not what you think. And we'll get into that later. I do celebrate Jesus' birth. So I have nothing against the holidays that we celebrate, except for the paganness to them. I don't like that. I don't do the Santa Claus and the Easter egg. I don't do Halloween at all, because that's not of God at all. And as you can see, I like to read. And I've read, I found evangelist, one of the evangelists whose name escapes me right now, used to be a Satanist and broke down the true meaning of Halloween. And he's not the only one. If you look at what Halloween really is, you won't want to celebrate it at all. Just to name a few of the holidays we keep. But did you notice that we keep those holidays, but we don't know what Yom Kippur is, and the Feast of the Trumpets, or anything. And that's really a trick of the enemy, honestly. It really is, and it's so sad. It is so sad, because it happens in most Christian households. But here I go again. I said I wasn't going to take a lot of time. So verse 2 says, "And ye shall offer a burnt offering for a sweet savor unto the Lord, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the first year without blemish. And their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deal of a bullock for a bullock, and 2/10 deals for a ram, and 1/10 deal for a lamb throughout the 7 lambs. And 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering to make an atonement for you, besides the burnt offering of the month." I'm on verse 6. "And his meat offering, and the daily burnt offering, and his meat offering, and their drink offerings, according unto their manner, for a sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord. And ye shall have on the 10th day of the 7th month a holy convocation. And ye shall afflict your souls. You shall not do any servile work." And by afflict your souls, that means fast. Take away some of the things you want to focus on God's word. And I've been enjoying the tent revival, because there's been a lot of mention of fasting and praying by the people that were doing the speaking. And they were talking about, during the fast, if you get hungry in the flesh, to grab your word, to worship God, because you need that spiritual food. And the enemy is trying to, sabotage the whole fast by getting you to crave natural food. All right, so verse 7. And we know in the Word of God in the New Testament, Jesus tells his disciples, because they came to him and they were like, "Why couldn't we cast this demon out?" And he said, "That kind right there comes out only by fasting and prayer. You can't come up in here fulfilling all your needs and your wants in the flesh and not set aside time for God and think you can cast that out. You can't. So fasting and stuff, that's very important to do. Let's see, verse 8. But ye shall offer a burnt offering unto the Lord for a sweet savor. 1 young bullock, 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the first year, they shall be unto you without blemish. And their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deal to a bullock, and 2/10 deals to 1 ram, a several tenth deal for 1 lamb throughout the 7 lambs, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the sin offering of atonement and the continual burnt offering, and the meat offering of it, and their drink offerings. Verse 12. And on the 15th day of the 7th month ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work, and ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. And ye shall offer a burnt offering, a sacrifice made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. 13 young bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the first year. They shall be without blemish. So this is saying sacrifice a double portion of animals, if you notice that. Thank God for Jesus, because I really do not want to be killing animals. Verse 14. And their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deal unto every bullock of the 13 bullocks, 2/10 deals to each ram of 2 lambs, and several 10th deal to each lamb of the 14 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, his meat offering and his drink offering. Verse 17. And on the 2nd day ye shall offer 12 young bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs of the first year without spot, and their meat offering and their drink offerings for a bullock, for the rams and for the lambs shall be according to their number after the manner. And 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering and the meat offering thereof, and their drink offerings. And on the 3rd day 11 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs of the first year without blemish, and their meat offering and their drink offerings for the lamb, for the rams, and for the lambs. I said lambs twice. I meant for the bulls, rams, and lambs shall be according to their number after the manner. And 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering and his meat offering and his drink offering. And on the 4th day 10 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs of the first year without blemish. Their meat offering and their drink offerings for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs shall be according to their number after the manner. You know who kept this up word for word? Job. He covered sins that his children might have done. He did the sacrificing, and even he got touched by the enemy, except for his life. And he said, word for word, pretty much, we need a mediator. You know, because God is sovereign. He can do whatever. Even though I have been sacrificing and sacrificing, the enemy has touched me in my body, took my kids, done everything, and I hadn't sinned. So he said we need a mediator. Who is he talking about? Jesus. Because even he knew me killing all these animals is not going to work. It's not enough. Verse 25. And 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, his meat offering and his drink offering. And on the 5th day 9 bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the first year without spot, and their meat offering and their drink offerings for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs shall be according to their number after the manner. And 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering and his meat offering and his drink offering. And on the 6th day 8 bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the first year without blemish. And their meat offering and their drink offerings for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs shall be according to their number after the manner. And 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, his meat offering and his drink offering. And on the 7th day 7 bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the first year without blemish. And their meat offering and their drink offerings for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs shall be according to their number, after the manner. And 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, his meat offering, and his drink offering. Verse 35 says, On the 8th day ye shall have a solemn assembly. You shall do no servile work therein. But ye shall offer a burnt offering, a sacrifice made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. 1 bullock, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year, without blemish. Their meat offering and their drink offerings for the bullock, for the ram, and for the lambs shall be according to their number, after the manner. And 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, and his meat offering, and his drink offering. These things ye shall do unto the Lord in your set feasts, beside your vows and your freewill offerings, for your burnt offerings, and for your meat offerings, and for your drink offerings, and for your peace offerings. Verse 40 says, And Moses told the children of Israel according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So Moses got this information and he related to the children of Israel. Now we're in chapter 30. Thank God we're moving on along. Now chapter 30 talks about vows. And for those that, it also talks about the family priesthood, about the head of houses having certain power in the spirit realm, which is true. So hopefully it doesn't come off to you the way the enemy wants it to come off to you, as in a sexist way. And I'll talk more about that later, but I want to talk to you about vows, VOWS, vows that people make. This chapter is about the nullification of vows made by the heads, by women and children, that the head of household has the power to nullify, except if the in the case of women, because the children are presumed to be under somebody's authority, but in case of a woman, if she is widowed or divorced, it makes a vow. That's between her and God, and it can't be nullified. It can't be pardoned, unless she go to God about it. But in the case of a woman and children whose husband is the head of their household, the husband has the power to nullify a vow for his wife and for his children. And really, that's a protective covering. It's not about control or power. It's about, you've made a vow that you should not have made, and now you're in trouble with God. So your head of household has a spiritual right to nullify it in the spirit realm. So I'm going to read off what it says, and I have some notes about this chapter. Verse 1, in chapter 30 says, And Moses spake unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Verse 2, If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. So saying, don't make a vow and lie, because that's on your soul. Verse 3, If a woman also vow a vow unto the Lord, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, like a daughter, and her father hear her vow, he hears what she said, and her bond wherewith she hath bond her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand. So he's saying, if this daughter has said something, made a vow, and the father hears it, the head of the household, father, and he don't say anything, then the vow stands. But if he says something to God and say, no, we take back what she said, then it's null and void. Verse 5 says, but if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand, and the Lord shall forgive her, because her father disallowed it. Now, you remember what Jesus said. Don't be making no vows. Don't be making no promises like that. Let your yes be yes and your no's be no. Because, you know, you're not your own. You belong to God. Verse, let's see, 6. I believe we're on verse 6. And this is where it could sound controversial. You were okay with the father-daughter, right? All right, let's talk about husband. Verse 6 says, and if she had at all an husband when she vowed, or uttered out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul. Now, she's bound her soul up in this vow. And if her husband hears it, and he held his peace and he didn't say anything at her in that day that he heard it, then her vow shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. If you don't say anything, if that priest of that household, the high priest of your household, the husband, if he don't say anything about it, because he's not operating in his role, then your soul is still bound to that vow. Verse 8 says, but if her husband disallowed her on that day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of none effect. He should, if he say something, say no, then she not bound up, and the Lord shall forgive her. Then she'll be forgiven. Verse 9, but every vow of a widow and of that a woman that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. So this saying, if she is a widow or divorced, and she doesn't have the high priest of a household to stop that soul being bound up like this by vow, and she don't have the common sense to stop the vow, to not vow, then her soul is bound up. So you can see it's a good thing, even though we can see it as a sexist thing. Verse 10, and if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it and held his peace, and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. Verse 11. Verse 12, I guess he's repeating it. But if her husband hath utterly made them void on that day, he heard them, then whatsoever proceedeth out of her mouth, her lips, concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her husband hath made them void, and the Lord shall forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. So this husband, this father, has a very important place in the house, and that's why husbands and fathers are attacked by the enemy. That's why the enemy wants families to not honor them, and to break, he wants the family broken up. Because the enemy knows this. We might have not realized it, or we might try to downplay it, or deny it. But the enemy knows this, and he's using it against us, unfortunately. Verse 14, but if her husband altogether told his peace at her from day to day, then he establishes all her vows, or all her bonds, which are upon her. He confirmed them because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them. So he's saying if the husband heard her saying some damaging vow and didn't say anything, then it's done. Her soul is bound and she's not forgiven for that vow, for not keeping that vow. But if he shall anyways make them void after that he had heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. These are the statutes which the Lord commanded Moses between a man and his wife, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth and in her father's house. Now, I think the Lord repeated it for a reason, because it probably was a hard pill to swallow back then as it is in today's time. So I'm going to take some time, hopefully quickly, and bring up some reference scriptures for you to make you feel a little better about this. Okay, so if you look at Ephesians 5, people like to use Ephesians 5 to say, wives obey the husband, that kind of thing. But Ephesians 5 and 25 through 33 lets their husband know, hey, you, sir, need to treat your wife like Christ treats the church. You need to be pretty much a savior to her in a way. And that's what makes Numbers 30, make you understand it better. So I would write those down and read those, because I don't have a lot of time to break it down. But if the husbands would do what Ephesians 5:25 through 33 says, it would make it so much easier for the wives to have the respect and honor for them. And also the children, they'll see that the house is supposed to be run a certain way, in that case. It won't be disorder. It won't be vulnerability for the enemy to attack your house like he's doing. And that's what's wrong today. These houses are not in order. And so if the homes are not in order, then the schools are not in order, and the workplaces are not in order, and the communities, the cities, the provinces, states, the countries, the world is out of order. Because what did it say in Zechariah 13:7? Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. And if you're not familiar with the Old Testament, you heard it in the New, in Matthew 26:31, and pretty much all four of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, said that same thing. That's what Jesus said. He was quoting Zechariah 13:7, and that's what the New Testament does. They quote a lot of the Old Testament. So that's what the enemy is doing. He's striking the heads of these households, and he's destroying whole families, whole neighborhoods, whole cities, states, and nations. And unfortunately, the church is not really teaching on that. A lot of the churches, not all of them. Okay, I'm not talking about your church. I know y'all preaching, the good stuff. But anyway, also information on vows. Every year, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, it was talked about in Leviticus. Every year, there is a prayer prayed called Kol Nidre. And I put that on the screen so you can see how it's spelled in transliterated English. But it's actually Aramaic, because the Bible is written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. And the language that Jesus spoke was Aramaic. But the Bible he read, because most of the Old Testament was read in Hebrew. So they would pray in Hebrew and speak Aramaic. So Kol Nidre means all vows. So every year there's a prayer for the Lord to forgive all vows made in ignorance. And so Numbers chapter 30 made me think of that. If you want to see how that prayer goes, it's actually can be found at this website, myjewishlearning.com. Kol Nidre, and I like that they have the actual Aramaic, and they have the transliteration, and they have the English, so you can see what the prayer is really saying. But if you want to hear the prayer chanted or song, my favorite version is by Marty Goetz. He is a Messianic Jew, which means he is a Jew that believes that Jesus is the Messiah. And so I follow his ministry, and I like to hear him play the piano and sing, him and his daughter Misha. And his version of Kol Nidre is one of my favorites, and you can listen to it on YouTube. I put a picture of it up here. If you find it. Yom Kippur is celebrated every year, like I said, and this year is October the 4th at sundown through October the 5th at sundown. So if you want to hear it live, you have opportunity to do that in some places of worship or on television. You'll hear the Kol Nidre chanted. All right, so now we are in chapter 31. Its first one says, excuse me, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterward thou shalt be gathered unto thy people. So a couple weeks ago, the Midianites women started seducing the Israelite men physically and spiritually. The Midianites worshipped idols, and if they got the Israelite men in bed with them naturally, they thought they were attractive. That pulled the heart away from God as well, because they started worshiping those idols with the Midianite women. And so they had done, in that way, spiritual warfare against the Israelites. So God is saying here, hey, avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Go to war with the Midianites. And then afterwards, Moses, you're going to come home. You're going to leave this world and be gathered to Abraham's bosom. And I'll talk more on that later. That's a place of hold where it's not like what the Catholics say is a holding place for souls. Purgatory. It's not purgatory, but it's literally written in the Bible with the rich man and Lazarus. In that story, Lazarus was in Abraham's bosom, and the rich man was in hell, and there was a great gulf separating them. They could see each other, but they couldn't get to each other. So that's what I'm talking about, that area, because that's where they went before Jesus died on the cross and everything. And we'll get into that later, more detail later. All right, it says in verse 3, and Moses spake unto the people, saying, arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian. Of every tribe 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel shall ye send to war. So there were delivered out of the hands of thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. So, it's 12 tribes of Israel, because they included Manasseh and Ephraim with Joseph. So it's 12 of them. And God told Moses to get 1,000 of each tribe. So that's how they got the 12,000 men armed for war. Verse 6, and Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest. Now Phinehas, he was the one that killed that Midianite woman and that Israelite man, who in front of the people and in front of God were walking together and went into a tent and committing idolatry and probably adultery too. I don't know. But so Phinehas avenged them, the Israelites, by killing both of them. And God stopped the plague that he had put on the people as a result of the idolatry. So that's the same Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the high priest. So they went to war with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand. So you're saying probably, why do they need holy instruments and trumpets to go to war? Don't they just need swords and stuff? It's because it's also a spiritual war going on, and they need to worship God in the process. You have to fight in the spirit first. And if God say in the flesh, then you fight in the flesh too. But mostly you can handle it in the spirit nowadays. Verse 7, and they warred against the Midianites as the Lord commanded Moses. I should have brought something to drink. And they slew all the males. So they killed all the males. Now catch this. Verse 8, and they slew the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, 5 kings of Midian. Balaam, you recognize that name? Also the son of Beor, they slew with the sword. Now Balaam, remember he was in chapters 22 through 24 of Numbers. He was the seer prophet who gave a prophecy to Balak, the king of Midian, saying that Israel is going to conquer and take over this land. But see, Balaam, he did not get out of there. He didn't join with the Israelites or get out of there. So he ended up getting killed. That's the one whose donkey talked to him. Now, verse 9 says, and the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives. So this is what I was saying. Check this out. They killed all the men, but they took all the women captive. Now, weren't the women the ones that screwed them up in the first place? Yes. But they took them captive, so they didn't kill them, and their little ones, and took the spoil of all their cattle and all their flocks and all their goods. So they did not destroy the things that were good in their sight, the good cattle and flocks and stuff like that. Verse 10, and they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, and all their goodly castles with fire. They destroyed the homes. Verse 11, and they took all the spoil and all the prey, both of men and of beasts. And they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil unto Moses and Eleazar the high priest, and unto the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the camp of the plains of Moab, which are by Jordan, near Jericho. And Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them without the camp. So they went outside of the camp to meet these warriors and see what all they had for spoils. Verse 14, and Moses was wroth with the officers of the host. He was mad with the officers of the army, the heads of the army, with the captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moses said unto them, have ye saved all the women alive? See, Moses knew the women were the stumbling block to begin with. And he noticed that they kept all of the ladies for themselves. So he's saying, have you really done this for real? Is what Moses is saying. Verse 16 says, behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. So this is saying Balaam, even though he had prophesied to Balak that these people would conquer the nation, he knew that if the women seduced the Israelites, that would cause trouble. And that caused that plague to get on the Israelites, that Phinehas stopped by killing an Israelite and a Midianite woman in the act. So he's like, really? Verse 17, now therefore kill every male among the little ones. Now that sounds very harsh. And kill every woman that hath known men by lying with them. So Moses is saying kill all of the male kids and kill every woman that ain't a virgin. Verse 18, but all the women children, all the female children that have not known a man by lying with him, that are virgins, keep alive for yourselves. Keep them alive and keep them captive. Verse 19, and do ye abide without the camp 7 days. So he's saying stay out of the camp for 7 days because you have killed and you are unclean. Whosoever hath killed any person, and whosoever hath touched any slain, purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. So they need to purify themselves. Let me bring up this scripture reference before I continue. I think it's Ezekiel 18, verse 20. It says, a soul that sinneth, it shall die. So that is the price of sin, and that's what these people have done. They sinned, the Midianites, and so they shall die. But it goes on to say that the sins of the fathers should not be on the children. And that's what Jeremiah 31 and 30 says as well. In the past, it says that the fathers have eaten sour grapes and the children suffer for it. In other words, the children suffer for the father's acts. Their teeth are set on edge, is the saying. But it says, but no longer will it be said that the fathers eat sour grapes and the children's teeth are set on edge. It will be that the father will have his teeth set on edge, so to speak, and the children won't suffer it. So I thank God for that, because it's messed up that these adults committed these sins, and you got to kill the male child. All right, but anyway, verse 31, chapter 31, verse 20. Moses is telling them, if you've killed somebody, stay outside of the camp for 7 days to atone. Also, verse 20 says, and purify all your clothes, your raiment, and all that is made of skins, and all work of goat's hair, because they wore skins and of animals, and they use goat's hair. I know for tents and everything, they use animal skins. Verse 18, and all things made of wood need to be cleaned and purified. Verse 21, and Eleazar the priest said unto the men of war which went to the battle, this is the ordinance of the law which the Lord commanded Moses. Only the gold and the silver, the brass, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that may abide the fire, ye shall make it go through the fire. So I remember in the past, I forgot which book, but we talked about things being purified, and God did say it's certain things that could be purified through washing, and there's certain things that need to be purified through fire. And this is what Moses is saying here. Those things that can withstand the fire need to pass through the fire to be purified. And it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the water of separation. And all that abideth not the fire shall make go through the water. So it's saying if it can't stand to be burned, it needs to go through water purification. But I'm thinking that said that after the fire purification, you still need to wash it. Verse 24, and ye shall wash your clothes on the 7th day, and ye shall be clean, and afterward ye shall come into the camp. So he's saying all the things they need to do for purification. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the sum of the prey that was taken, both of man and beast, thou and Eleazar the priest, and the chief fathers of the congregation, and divide the prey into 2 parts, between them that took the war upon them who went out to battle, and between all the congregation. And levy a tribute unto the Lord of the men of war. So they had to pay sort of like a tithe or a first fruit for the spoils that they took. Let's see. Levy a tribute, verse 28, unto the Lord of the men of war, which went out to battle, 1 soul of 500, both of the persons and of the beeves, beeves, and of the asses and of the sheep. So this is animals. Take it of their half and give it unto Eleazar the priest for an heave offering of the Lord. And of the children of Israel, half. Thou shalt take one portion of 50, and of the persons, of the beeves, of the asses, of the flocks, of all manner of beasts, and give them unto the Levites. So the Levites, they can't go to war. They can't work regular jobs. Their job is to take care of sacrifice and things regarding the tabernacle. So they can't bring in produce and income. So that's why things are divided and given to them to take care of them personally and to take care of the tabernacle service. It says, which keep the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord. Verse 31, and Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses. And the booty, which is the goods that were taken from war, being the rest of the prey which the men of war had caught, was 600,000 and 70,000 and 5,000 sheep. So they took a lot of sheep, which is great because they sacrificed daily, a lot daily. Verse 33, and 12,000 beeves. Now, 60. I did not look up what this beeves is. Let's see if I can find it out for you. Beef. Verse 4, and 61,000 asses, that's donkeys, and 32,000 persons in all, of women that had not known man by lying with them. So they took on a lot of people too. And the half, which was the portion of them that went out to war, was in number 300,000 and 30,000 and 500 sheep. And the Lord's tribute of the sheep was 615, and the beeves were 36,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 312, and the asses were 30,500, of which the Lord's tribute was 301, and the persons were 16,000. Of the Lord's tribute was 32 people. And Moses gave the tribute, which was the Lord's heave offering, unto Eleazar the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. Eleazar the high priest. Verse 42, and of the children of Israel, half, which Moses divided from the men that warred. Now the half that pertained unto the congregation was 300,000 and 30,000 and 7,000 and 500 sheep, and 36,000 beeves, and 30,000 asses, and 16,000 people. Even of the children of Israel, half. Moses took one portion of 50, both of man and of beast, and gave them unto the Levites, which kept the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the officers which were over thousands of the hosts, the captains of thousands and captains of hundreds, came near unto Moses. So the heads of the armies came close to Moses. And they said unto Moses, thy servants have taken the sum of the men of war which are under our charge, and there lacketh not one man of us. So they did a census after the war, and not one of them was lost. None of the Israelites were killed. Now that's amazing. Verse 50, we have therefore brought an oblation for the Lord, what every man hath gotten of jewels of gold, chains and bracelets, rings and earrings and tablets, to make an atonement for our souls before the Lord. So the Lord spared all of us. We have an offering of the things that we've gotten in the war, and all of that gold that he mentioned. 51, and Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of them, even all wrought jewels, and all the gold of the offering that they offered up to the Lord, of the captains of the thousands, of the captains of hundreds, were 16,750 shekels. That's a lot. That is a lot of gold. For the men of war had taken spoil, every man for himself. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of the captains of the thousands and of the hundreds and brought it into the tabernacle of the congregation for a memorial for the children of Israel before the Lord. So it'll always be set up there in the tabernacle. They could have as a memorial. All right, so I'm not going to read further because I like to just do like an hour. Let me see, do I have any reference that I left out? No. So next week I will go on to the next chapter, chapter 32. And we're moving on along because Numbers only has 36 chapters. So we'll after chapter 36 we'll be in Deuteronomy, which is the last book of the Torah. So we're moving on pretty quickly for the Old Testament. So announcements, we are still in tent revival, so I'd like for you, if you can, to join us. We'll be at 7129 Georgia Road, Birmingham, Alabama, until the 5th. Each service is 7 p.m. Central under the tent, so I want you to join us if you can. I do record every service, but what happens is on site, we don't have Wi-Fi, so I'm using a mobile hotspot, which unfortunately would capture just clips live, and I have to come home and actually manually upload it on to Facebook and YouTube, so it takes longer for you to see the whole service if you're not there. So I encourage you to come out if you can. Tonight we have Pastor Demetrius Young from Deliverance Temple Interfaith Church. We really love him and appreciate his whole congregation. They really have done so much for us. The program that you see I'm using now, that I can put people's names up and stuff, we found out from Pastor Young. So we really appreciate him. And also somebody from his congregation is at like every service we have under the tent to help us set up. Also, the taking down of the tent and the putting up a tent was done by multiple people in his congregation. So they've been very helpful. We really appreciate them and love them. So as you can see, the regular Bible study times is 7:30 on Wednesdays, but during the tent revival season, I've been doing them earlier, 4:30 p.m. so that we can get the Bible study in, take a little break, and then go to the tent at 7. So at least until the 17th, I know I'll be doing this 4:30 p.m. Central, Lord willing. And I know that on Fridays, Overseer Mylan Hudson, she's just going to be on hold. Just meet her at the tent. She's not going to do the Friday night Bible study during the tent season. We did get confirmation on the next site. We know it'll be 3rd Avenue West in Birmingham. Last year it was at Pastor Demetrius Young's t-shirt shop, like right in front of his t-shirt shop on 3rd Avenue next to AutoZone. But this time it's going to be on 3rd Avenue, but there's actually a plot of land that it'll be on, and I don't have its physical address yet, because when we did it at the t-shirt shop, it was on the cement parking lot, and it was tough to keep the tent from blowing away. So we need grass so we can put the pegs and stuff in. So they found some land on 3rd Avenue that it'll be at this time. That being said, though, we need you. We need your help. This coming Saturday, August the 6th, before the sun gets hot, like the morning time, if you can, meet us where the tent is now on Georgia Road, so we can take the tent down and then take it to 3rd Avenue West and assemble it, put it up. And that address is to be announced, so I'm going to say it again. Because we need all the help we can get. It's hard work. To meet us this Saturday, August the 6th, 2022, at 7129 Georgia Road. so we can take the tent down, put it on the trailers, and get it to 3rd Avenue West in Birmingham. If you have been wanting to come out but hadn't had a chance to for whatever reason, and you wish you could see the program, we record every service. If you would go to our YouTube page, Free Gospel Deliverance Center, look under playlists, and then look at tent revivals, and scroll down, you'll see the current tent revival and the past ones. And while you're there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And the subscribe button look like this. I'm gonna make it super easy for you. Free Gospel Deliverance Center. Hit the subscribe button, and if you like to, hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know each time we live, which right now is 6 to 7 days a week. Because if you think about it, we're doing Monday through Friday under the tent, and Wednesdays I go live for Bible study, so that's 6. And we do Sunday nights, or our regular Sunday night service still goes on, so that's 7 nights, 7 times a week. Pretty much a video is going up on our platforms. So also we're on Facebook. Free Gospel Deliverance Center is our page. Sometime I record from my personal page, or Daddy's personal page, or Mom's. So you can connect with us on our personal pages. India Lavoyce is me. The pastor is Don E. Hudson. And overseer Mylands is Mylan Hudson on Facebook. But even if I go live on our personal pages, I always share it to our page, Free Gospel Deliverance Center, on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, go to our church page and like us. And that way you can keep up with everything that way too. If the Lord is moving you to give us a donation so we can continue forward with the tent revivals and keep gas in that generator and everything, and make sure we have working mics and lights and comfy chairs, then you can send donations to Cash App, $1 Guitar. The O is capital. And that's the pastor's Cash App. My Cash App is India Lavoyce, all lowercase and no spaces. So, and that's a picture of our leaders, Pastor Apostle D.E. Hudson and Overseer Mylan Hudson, First Lady. So, if the Lord is moving you to donate, no pressure, but there's the information to do so. If you don't have access to Cash App and want to come out to the tent, you're welcome. I'm thinking about getting a P.O. box set up so that people that want to mail in donations can do that if you don't have Cash App, or if you can't meet us in person. But either way, I really appreciate you. Thank you for your donations, because you don't have to do it, but we thank you for it if the Lord tells you to do so. Before I leave, I would love to speak a blessing over you. And I want to use Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 26, which is known as the priestly blessing. And this website that I have up here has the Hebrew, the transliteration, and the English on here of the blessing. So check out that website that I have at the bottom of the screen. But I'll read it to you in Hebrew first, and then I'll do English. And it's Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom. And what I said is, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And we pray that in the name of Jesus, Yeshua, HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah, or Jesus the Christ, the Prince of Peace, Sar Shalom. Amen. I hope you received that blessing in Jesus' name. Thank you for watching. And hopefully we will see you tonight at 7 p.m. Central under the tent. God bless you.